It's a big shape, so we're going to mix two greys, a dark grey and the lighter grey, and then the sort of sunlit area and the ground. So for the dark grey, French Ultramarine. You've got to put enough burnt sienna in that you get the right grey colour. So this colour is what I'm going to use for this colour here. Let's put that. And then the light grey will be the same two colours. I'm going to add some cobalt blue to it, however, just to cool it down a little bit. Cobalt blue and burnt sienna can give you a lighter coloured grey. I think that's okay for a colour, but obviously it's, tonally it's too strong, so we'll just add a lot more water to the palette. And that's better. We may dilute it still, but that'll do for now. And then the warm area, I'm just going to get just some very weak cad orange. You could use raw sienna, yellow ochre for this. They would all work fine. It's just enough to tint the paper. I don't want a really strong orange there. Yeah, and that's too bright now, so I'll add more water. And then for the ground, we'll start with some raw umber. And I'll add a small amount of cobalt turquoise to it. Good, that'll do. All right, let's wet this again. I'm going to start by just putting some of this warm cad orange mix into the sky. Maybe a little bit more here. I didn't have a lot of paint on my brush because I need that to dry fairly quickly. Still a little bit shiny, so if I was to start painting the rest of the sky right now, I'd lose all this light because the dark paint would just flow straight into it. So I'm just going to hit this area with a hairdryer and then we'll continue with the rest of the sky. Okay. I don't want this parallel line forming here, so I'm just going to start by creating the edge that I want here. And keep your spray bottle handy, because even though by wetting the back we can continue to paint for quite a while, the surface area could still dry on you and the spray bottle will get you out of difficulty. Now I'm going to get some clean water. And this is where the rain is coming down. Then we've got this mist here as well. Just wet that. There's going to be a transition there, so I'll wet that area. This needs to be stronger in tone. Now that I've got this here as a reference, it's telling me this needs to be quite a bit stronger. I'm going to lighten this area up here. Just hit it with a lot of water. Literally flooding it with water because there wasn't enough tonal variation between that and this. And then once I start painting, I almost stop looking at the photo, or if I am, I'm just looking at it for interesting little shapes I can add, but I'm more interested now creating an interesting pattern of cloud shapes. I don't have to follow the photo exactly. I'll pick up some of this weak cat orange mix. Now here, this has been sitting there for a while, so it's sort of stained the paper, which is what I wanted to do. And I'm now going to pick up this weak cat orange mix and paint up to that. The burnt sienna flows more than the French ultramarine, so if you end up with like a bright blue patch there, sometimes you've just got to scrub at it to get more burnt sienna mixed in with it. We're almost there with this sky. I think I could have a bit more rain coming down here. But it's important to let the watercolour flow rather than try and paint the rain in directly. Let's let that run down a bit. Okay, so now most of these are either hard-edged or broken edges. I'm going to soften some of them. I clean my brush, squeeze all the water out. When I say all, 95%, and then just go in and just soften an edge here and there. Just so it doesn't look like, it's just a cutout. Do that here. Some of these shapes I'll just lighten a bit. But I want to make sure I still end up with some nice broken edges here. Great. Okay. Let's just lift that. Now I'm going to turn this around here a little bit. Right now all this paint's flowing down this way, and I'd like a few more horizontal shapes. So I'll pick up some of this paint. This is my darkest tone. Take most of it out by dragging it through the edge of my palette and then just tapping it on a towel to take out some more paint. Because this area here doesn't have a lot of water on it. And then just very quickly, I'm going to go into this ground colour. Now what will happen at the edge, some of the sky colour will flow into that, but most of what's sitting here is there's a lot of water there, and it's going to just automatically lighten the tone of the distant ground. Just hint at some hills. I look at this here and I go, I've got this lovely light coming through the clouds. A nice thing to do when we paint Mount York might be to put a bit of light here. And then just hint at some light coming through. You don't want to make it look too obvious. Just hint at some light getting through there. All right, so the next step, we're going to paint this range of hills. If we look at our reference, you can see it's all greys. I'm going to let a little bit of green filter through into this area. This area here is stronger in tone than these over here, so I'll keep that in mind. And then obviously we've got the softening over here as the mist impacts the shape of the hills. So we've got all this sky colour here. If we look at these hills and this sky, you can see they're similar. So we can use the sky colour for this. All right, so we'll go in with this for the hills. And the other thing, now remember I want a little bit of light hitting this hill here. So this is where I'm going to take some artistic license and change some of the lighting on that hill. I'm going to just hint at the cliff face there. And I'm going to get a little bit of cobalt turquoise, a little bit more raw umber. More raw umber. maybe a little bit of aureolin. And this hill is just a bit lighter here as it moves further away. I made that a bit too green, so I'm just dropping in some of this lighter sky colour. I'm going to pick up some of this raw sienna. Just a hint of light there. Broken edge down below. Quick brush strokes. So I just dip my brush in plenty of water. Let that sit there for a bit. Now here we're going to be painting some trees along this edge. So I'm going to lift some of this colour just so that the foreground trees aren't too dark. Okay, so this has been sitting there for a while. Remember, I picked up my brush. I had some of this, I think, darker colour here. Dipped it in water to clean most of that off. And now I'm going to dip it in water again and use that. Too much water. And then we've got all the foliage. The distant foliage is a dull grey-green colour, so I can use this as a bit of a base. And I add some more raw umber, a little bit of aureolin, not much because I don't want the strong green to come through, and some turquoise. Break up that edge a bit. Just hinting at masses of foliage. You always have to keep looking back at areas you've worked in to see whether or not they're ready for another mark or effect that you can produce, or whether they're getting out of control and you need to quickly adjust them. Now, I'm not trying to put every tree or shape in, just enough to give the impression of some open land here and there with some trees on it. Just add a little bit of burnt sienna to this just to warm up the colour a fraction. Just blocking in where I'm going to put trees. Just breaking up some of these edges. I want to just spray this area because I need to create something out of all of this green. And that just keeps the shine on it. So if I tip this, see how it's all got that shine? That gives me plenty of time to start adding other tones and lifting. Already I can see I have to either darken tones here or lighten some of these tones there because I want a bit more depth in my painting. I might start by just lifting some of this in the distance. And I'm going to throw in a few trunks and branches. I'll give these trees a bit more form with some shadow shapes. Got to be careful here. I don't want the splatter to go into the sky. I'm trying just to create the impression of clumps of foliage in these foreground trees. And then I look at the splatter as well. If some of the splatter just looks wrong, I can adjust it. So I just got some Scarlet Lake and Cad Orange there to add some warmth to this deciduous tree. Just helps bring that forward. And we'll do the same to these, I think. Let's throw in a bit down here. Now I can do this without creating mud because I sprayed it before and made sure this still has lots of shine on it. Okay. Let that sit there and throw in a few birds. Now I have to let that dry a little bit, and then once it's lost its shine, it's a little bit too wet, I'll scrape in a few foreground branches and the hint of a trunk maybe or something like that. I'll just let that sit there. So what have I done here? I've played with bluer and duller colours in the distance and lighter tones, and then as I've come forward I've gone with darker tones and warmer colours. I've also got softer edges in the distance and then sharper edges in the foreground, just to create that feeling of depth so that the mountain, you know, looks in the distance rather than up close. Just notice this looks like there's a road all the way around it. I'm going to get rid of that. I twist the credit card when I'm putting them in so they don't look like lampposts. When you get areas like this where it's wet and then a little bit dry, you get a nice shape coming up where you get, you know, part of the trunk or branches in shadow and part with light, and I sort of like that effect. I'm just about finished here because I don't want to put too much more into this. I don't normally recommend using a small brush like this, but it was in my hand. I hope you liked this video. If you have, please give it a like, and if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. And if you're able, please consider supporting me on Patreon. I look forward to seeing you for the next one.